Hello and welcome to another installment of the Moose Man Dippers video series. I am the Moose Man. That's Sean. Wave hi, Sean. That's Sean. He's playing a very intense part of a video game right now. Sweep the leg. You have nice butt. But anyways, I have been sitting here for like 20 freaking minutes trying to decide which direction I want to go with this video, and it's made me really anxious about putting a dip in. So we're gonna go ahead and get to what kind of worm dirt I'm gonna be throwing in my mouth today, and that is, of course, the same thing I had in the last video, Copenhagen long cut. And the mud jug of the day is going to be the same for a while, as it is the only one I have so far, and that is, of course, the Outlaw Yellow Mud Jug. Now, today, I really had no idea what I was going to talk about, but if you'll give me 2 seconds to think while I crack, and whack this, yeah. So, let's get a nice pinch of this going here. Ooh, yeah, oh, fuck. So that happened. Tell you what, I'll put that in, and I'll put the other half of what I just had in my hand in, so. As you saw, I am rolling the Copenhagen long cut. I don't know if he still has it in. He had it in earlier. My buddy back there, Sean, he had a picture of Copenhagen Southern blend in, and oh, we still got it going back there, enjoying it. But yeah, we're just chilling up here in the room. He's playing some video games. I'm making a video for you guys to enjoy, and I hope you do enjoy it. But I guess what I'm going to talk about today would probably be how my parents found out that I started dipping, and really, it's kind of stupid because I had two sets of parents find out at two different times that I was dipping, and the first was my mom, as she's always been very understanding. Like, I actually didn't touch a nicotine product, and y'all can dispute this all you want, but it's the dead serious truth. The first time I ever touched a tobacco product was when I was 18. It was April 20th, my senior year in high school. And instead of smoking weed for the first time, it was the first time I ever smoked a cigarette. So, you know, holy shnikes. But anyways, my mom, sometime later, I decided, I'm not really liking the smoking thing. And, my mom, she already knew that I smoked a little bit. She wasn't happy about it, but she understood, being a smoker herself. But after a while, I started trying to dip, and I started on no, not Copenhagen. God, they didn't even sell Copenhagen at the store I bought it from. That's how poor the town I lived in was. But it was Grizzly Long Cut Wintergreen, and I started on this, and I got 2 cans, and it lasted me 2 weeks. And at the end of the second week, I put a pinch in, and within 10 minutes, I was doubled over and puking. So, that was my first time dipping. It had an adverse effect on me, and I love the taste and I love the smell. I've always loved the smell of wintergreen tobacco. Now, not so much, since I actually have dipped it for a while. If you've noticed, I got the Copenhagen wintergreen tin lid on my hat there. I've been dipping it pretty regular lately, and it's just time to take a break. That's why I'm on the long cut wintergreen here. And listen at me, the Copenhagen long cut, because I can't think straight right now. It's the end of a long ass freaking day, and I'm just freaking moving on. You don't care about that shit. So, anyways, but yes, my mom found out, and then about a week after my mom found out that I had started dipping, I took a break from dipping because it made me sick. I mean, one of my friends would, one of my friends would crack open a can of wintergreen next to me, and my stomach would start turning in knots. So a few months later, I went into the army and I went through basic, and having tried nicotine and kind of backed away from it, I didn't really have to worry about it. Uh, but I got through basic and I went to AIT, and then when I got to AIT, uh, I decided, the most social place, and you can ask a lot of people in the army this. Yeah, look at it back there. The most social place at any AIT, which is Advanced Individual Training, is where you go to actually learn the job you signed up for the Army to do. The most social place of any of them that I've been to, that he's been to, anytime we were there, the most social place to go and hang out with people, talk shit to other people, all that, was the smoke pit. Now, that's because in the Army, you were not allowed to smoke within 50 feet of a building. So, being the social man I am, I do better in a crowd. And so, I went out to see where the crowd was. When I got out there, I was chilling, I was hanging out, and somebody offered me a cigarette. I was like, it's been a while since I've had one. I'll go ahead and try it. And again, I started smoking, and then the damnedest thing happened, and he's probably going to start nodding again, but it became the biggest pain in the ass because it would happen every other week or so. Uh, Somebody would fuck up and trash the smoke pit, leave cigarette butts everywhere and all that, and the smoke pit would get shut down. And so, well, I don't even think he's listening to me. Oh, he's watching a cutscene. My bad. But the smoke pit would get shut down, and all of a sudden, you would see everybody just start fiending. And so, us in our infinite wisdom, thinking it had never been done before, we decided we'd all go out and get some dip. So, me, I was kind of slow to start it. I kind of just like grinned and bear it. I'd sneak off here and there to get a cigarette in. It got me through, but I was finally to the point where I was like, man, screw this. I need some nicotine. I don't care how. So I'm going to try another dip, and I'll never forget it. My friend Perry, at Fort Lee, we were living in the barracks there, and my friend Perry was walking around. We were playing PlayStation together, and he's like, "Man, I need some nicotine." I was like, "Man, I fucking do too." So, we started walking up and down the hall, and I shit you not, I'm not proud of this, but this is what happened. Uh, the first person, or the only person out of the entire hallway we found that had enough dip to spare was dipping Skull fucking Cherry. The rainbow dips. And he had, at least it wasn't berry. At least it wasn't berry. You see, he agrees, but he had Skull Cherry, and Skull. It was it's kind of a weaker blend in my opinion. And so I was like, you know what, screw it, I'll try it. I threw it in, and it gave me no problems. And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I've outgrown my little sickness due to nicotine. Maybe I just tried it a little early and it just didn't react with me well. Well, the next week I was sitting there and I was like, you know what, I want some wintergreen, and I just got paid, so we went up to the little shop at it. Was like a little gas station without gas pumps. It's just this little store, like a 7-Eleven. And I walk in, I get a can of Grizzly, and I put it in. I'm like, this is not agreeing with me. So I'm sitting there, my friends can see it. I'm turning green. They're like, "What the heck are you doing?" I'm like, "Grizzly wintergreen." They were like, "Spit that shit out and put some of this in." He handed me a can of Copenhagen wintergreen. I'm like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Try it. Tell me if it makes you as sick as Grizzly does." And amazingly, it didn't. I mean, now I've worked up quite a tolerance, so now I can handle Grizzly, but I still prefer Copenhagen. I mean, it's just who I am. If you prefer Grizzly, no offense, but it's just not my thing. But anyways, anyways, so I was back on it. I was hooked again. Actually started backing off on the cigarettes, laying more on the dip for a while, and then I went back to cigarettes. And now I've actually quit cigarettes because I've gotten tired of those, and I'm just dipping regularly. So I got me a mud jug. You know, I've been showing this thing off all day, and the fact that you can do this, and I've been spitting in this thing, y'all, and I'll do it again at the end of the video. I'll show y'all the dip that's inside it before I do, but you know, mud jugs, guys, these things are sick as tick. Go over to mudjug.com, check out all the different patterns. I know last week they just came out with this new Thrasher pattern, and it looks wicked. It's got some graffiti stuff going on, and it's got the whole, it's got a baseball on it with a face on it, you know, screaming. It's just kind of, it's artsy, and it's cool. It looks great, but anyways, so I was back on dipping, and, you know, I dipped heavily until I got out, and I still smoked, and this is about the time my dad found out. Now, my dad found out I smoked back before I joined the Army, and straight kicked me out of the house. I mean, he was, you know, he was like, well, you're 18, you're your own man, you can fend for yourself like your own man, right? And so next thing I know, I have $3 and a phone number written on a piece of paper and the clothes on my back, and the phone number I called didn't even pick up, so I had to walk to somewhere and use a phone that was free to use, and call up someone else to come pick me up. But that's a story for another time. But anyways, he didn't know that I was also dipping. Well, when I got out of A.D.D, my dad saw that I could support myself. You know, I had a job, I could buy my own cigarettes and all that. You know, he was cool with me smoking, but he didn't want me doing it in the car on the way back. And, you know, we were driving from Virginia to North Carolina, not a very long drive, but me, I was, you know, heavy on the cigarettes and everything at that point. You know, I just knew that I need some nicotine to get through. Well, I went to the store and I picked up 2 cans actually, and I went through 1.5 of them on this drive home, because every time we'd stop, I'd get out, take the dip out, smoke a cigarette, get back in, throw another dip in, and keep going. I mean, it was crazy. I was nonstop back then. But anyways, and I didn't really tell him. I told my mom, but I didn't tell him. It was just one of those things where, you know, I had an empty Gatorade bottle in my hand when I got in the truck, and he's like, "What's that for?" And then I started packing my can of dip. He's like, "Oh, okay. Well, you know, at least you're not smoking in the car." So, you know, it worked out well for me. It was kind of a ballsy move, because he could have just kicked me out of the freaking truck right there. You know, said find my own way home, and I'd have been screwed. I mean, I'd already taken my leave, and I wanted to go home and see my friends and everything. And so, you know, I'd have been screwed. And so I'm just real glad that it worked out for me on that one. But yeah, it's been pretty good. I'm kind of glad that I quit cigarettes now, because, you know, it's one of those things where I found out that as much as people say that they don't like, you know, dipping, I found more people that are okay with me dipping near them than are okay with me smoking near them, which I understand, because, you know, it's in your mouth, you know, they're not having to, you know, wave smoke out of their face to talk to you or anything, but yeah, and one more thing I'm going to implement is the FNG saying of the day. And FNG is actually he's my neighbor here, and he's just random as all get out. I mean, his personality is just different. I mean, he will sit there and joke around with you like, you know, did you forget your pants today? Or if you ask him that, he'll be like, my pants. And, you know, he's just one of those guys. So the FNG quote of the day.
I accidentally all the dicks.
Is actually not that. I was going to save that for the next video. Thank you, Sean. But I talked to him about it today, and he was like, "You want a quote? Here's one." Because we walked into the barracks, and there's this lawnmower sitting there that he was like, "It's mine," and everybody was like, "Don't you touch it." And so we're on our way up the stairs to our rooms, and he like literally as soon as that person closed the door, he's like, "What they don't know is if you don't get caught, you're not guilty." And I looked at him, I'm like, what? He's like, think about it. If no one catches you, how do you know you did it? I was like, okay. He's like, that better be your fucking quote of the day. So that's FNG's quote of the day. FNG needs no introduction. FNG is FNG. This is the Moose Man and Sean. Wait, bye, Sean.
Bye, guys.
Moose Man.